Hi, today we are working on question 1 of the project. Remember, we're working with the responses to that survey of the customers of a t-shirt shop. And question 1 on the survey was the question about which would be your favorite thing to have on a t-shirt. Go to where you have your spreadsheet saved, that same spreadsheet that you already submitted, and open it, and make sure it looks like this. Make sure you have the version where you did fill in those top 5 rows. They should not be blank. They should have responses in them. So we're going to be working on the responses for question 1 that are here in column B of this spreadsheet. So click in the cell that has the first response, that's B3. So I'm going to left click there, and then holding down that mouse button, I'm going to drag down through all of the responses until I get to the last one down here in, well, it's the 55th response, but it's in row 57 of the spreadsheet. So now I'm going to go up here to the top of the screen, click Insert, click where it says Pivot Table over here on the left, and in the little box that pops up, I'm just going to click OK. Now over here on the right, see where it says Type of Shirt with a box next to it? Click that box to check the box. And then you should see these words show up over here. These 4 words: cartoon, music, sports, words. If you don't see them on some computers, like maybe Macs, you might have to click on this and drag it down into this box labeled rows to make those appear. So if you don't see them, do that. And then the next thing we're going to do is click on this where it says Type of Shirt. Click on that and drag it down into this box that says Values. And now some numbers should appear that show how many of each of those things there were. Now you should only have 4 rows on your table: cartoon, music, sports, words. They might or might not be in that order, but you should see those 4 things. If you see anything else there, you're going to have to fix that. You probably won't. You're probably okay. But if you do have to fix it, here's how. Let's say you actually got a 5th response because when you were typing in your data, you maybe misspelled or misformatted something. So looking here, I've got this extra entry that says mucus, because when I was typing in my data over here on this data spreadsheet tab, I meant to type music, but somehow I made a typo and I typed mucus instead. Now, nobody wants mucus on their t-shirt, so let's fix that. I'm going to click on that and go ahead and type in the correct thing, which is music. And now I'm going to go back to the tab with the pivot table, and I'm going to update this by clicking up here where it says Data, and then clicking here where it says Refresh All, and now it's fixed. Now we're going to format this table the way we want it. So I'm going to change the table heading in column A here from row labels to favorite type of shirt. I'm going to double click there, and I can either change it right here, or I could have gone up to this bar up here, clicked in there and changed it there. But I'm going to type in the words favorite type of shirt. I am capitalizing those words, favorite and type, and shirt. And it doesn't all show up because it's not wide enough, so I'm going to widen this so we can see all those words. Now I'm going to change the heading of the next column to frequency. I'm going to double click there. And here a little box comes up. So where it says custom name, I'm just going to type the word frequency. And we're going to remove the grand total row. So I'm going to right click on the words grand total. And you see this little pop-up menu, and one of the choices is remove grand total. So I'm going to select that, and it's gone. Now we're going to create a percent column. So if you click cell C3, double click it so you can type into it, and type the word percent. And I want that to be in bold. So I'm going to go back up here and make it bold by going to the Home tab, clicking on Home, and then clicking the B here. And that formatted it as boldface. Now we want that to be the same color as these other two, have that light blue background. So I'm going to click the little arrow next to the paint can, and I'm going to go down and find the color that matches those other columns. I think it's this one here. It's the fifth one over. And yeah, that looks like that matches. Now, double click cell C4 right below the word percent and type equals B4 and then a slash, which means divided by 55, and hit enter. So 12 out of 55 is 0.218182. That's the relative frequency. But to format that as a percent, I'm going to go back up here, click on that cell, and then click the percent button. And that formatted it as a percent. Now, I've seen sometimes this percent button doesn't work. I just did it now, and it did work. It worked fine. But for some people, for some reason, it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work for you, you can, up here, click this drop-down menu and find percentage to format it as a percentage. Now, when I did that, it showed it not to the nearest whole percent, but with 2 digits after the decimal point. So if you wanted it to the nearest whole percent, we can click on the decrease decimal button here a couple times, and that takes it back to being 22% to the nearest whole percent. So I've got the percent for the first one, and now I'm going to see that little tiny green box in the bottom right corner of that cell there. I'm going to click on that and then drag down through the next 3 cells. So I've got all 4 of those highlighted, and then when I release the button, it just copies down so that now we've got percents in all 4 of those cells. Now we're going to add borders and center the entire table. So select the whole thing by clicking up here in cell A3 and then dragging across and down. So we've got the whole thing selected. Now go up here and find the borders icon, and we're going to select all borders. So when you click on that, it should show up like this with all the borders all the way around your table. Now, while the table is still highlighted, while it's still all selected, go up here and click the center icon here. And then also this one to center it horizontally and vertically. So everything is centered in its cell. I'm going to widen this just a little more to make sure we see the whole words for favorite type of shirt. So there's our table. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom, to the tab down here, and double click and type and delete where it says sheet 1 and instead type type of shirt. So I've labeled this particular tab or page of the spreadsheet file. And I'm going to go ahead and save what I have now so we don't lose our work if something happens. Now we're ready to create the Pareto chart. And remember, a Pareto chart is always arranged from highest to lowest frequency. So we're going to be sorting the table before we draw the chart. So I'm going to highlight just the frequencies. So I'm going to click in B4 and drag down through B7. And now go over here where it says sort and filter. Click on that and click sort largest to smallest. So now it's been sorted in order of frequency, with sports first, because that has the highest frequency, and words last. Now we're ready to create the actual Pareto chart. So go ahead and click in B4 and drag down through B7 again. So we're highlighting the frequencies. Now go up here, click where it says Insert, and see in the middle where we have some of these charts. We're going to click the bar chart. Not this one, but this one. The one where if you click on it, you have these 2D column and 3D column and so on. Just click where the first 2D column chart. And we get a chart like this. I'm going to drag it over so it's not overlapping the table. I am going to delete over here on the right where it says total. I'm just going to make that go away by clicking it, and I hit the delete button on my keyboard. It's also possible to delete it by maybe right-clicking it and selecting delete. And see this gray bar down here? We want to make that go away. So right-click on that and click where it says hide all field buttons on chart. So now that gray bar has gone away. Now, click on the words under the first bar. For mine it says sports. Yours might be a different one, but if I click there, that puts a box around all the words. So now I'm going to go up here, click home and bold to make all those words bold. Now I'm going to click the numbers on the side. That puts a box around them, and I'm going to click bold again to make those numbers bold. Now I'm going to change the title up here so that instead of saying total, I want it to say favorite type of shirt. So I double clicked on that. I'm deleting the word total and instead typing favorite type of shirt. And let's make that bold. And maybe not quite so big. How about size 11? Now let's add a label to what we got over here. These are the frequencies, but let's actually label that. So I'm going to go back to the Design tab, and I'm going to click where it says Add Chart Element, and under Axis Titles, I'm going to select Primary Vertical. And then I'm going to double click on that and delete what's there, and instead type in the word frequency. And let's make it bold. And we can maybe resize this a little, pull the word frequency away from the graph a little, save your work. And now, once you've got everything saved, go back into Canvas and submit your Excel file where it says question 1, table and Pareto chart.